Syllogisms were discovered by Aristotle, and he said that there's a major premise plus a minor premise equals a conclusion. Major premise is in our mind. Minor premise is evidence in the world equals the conclusion. Okay? One example that he gave, or that we can take, is the concept in our mind that all humans die. All humans die. Fact in the world, evidence in the world, is that his student Socrates is human. Socrates will die. All humans die, Socrates will die. Or Socrates is human, that means Socrates will die. Okay? So we always have something that we have in our mind that we understand to be true. We have to match it with something that's in the world. We match it with something in the world and we come to the conclusion. That's what a syllogism is. Okay? Okay, let's talk about Stephen Toulmin. This is taken from page 143. Page 143. Stephen Toulmin's Parts of an Argument. Okay? Okay, so let me explain this to you. Stephen Toulmin looked at the syllogism, which was the major premise and the minor premise equal to the conclusion. So he wanted to kind of give a more modern version of it. So he came up with the Toulmin model. Toulmin model of reasoning. Okay? And this is what it says, is that first of all, we take evidence that are things in the world, things that we can prove, okay? We take that evidence and we take that and we say, therefore, because of the evidence, we arrive at a conclusion. Because of that evidence, we arrive at a conclusion. But what are the other parts of the argument. You also have a warrant, which is the main, that's the concept that's in our mind, okay? You also have the minor premise, which is the evidence that's in the world. And then you also have the reservations, the qualifiers, and which mean unless. Okay, so let's write down an example here. Harry is a British subject. Harry was born in Bermuda. Bermuda is a British territory. Okay, all right. So, the conclusion is that Harry is a British subject. That's the conclusion. All right? The evidence for that is that Harry was born in Bermuda. Now, Bermuda is a British territory. Okay, so that's why Harry is a British subject. Okay? The concept is that Bermuda is a British territory. Harry was born in Bermuda is the evidence, after all. And then the conclusion is Harry is a British subject. Now, what will be the qualifiers or the reservations to this statement? Anybody have any idea? What will be the qualifiers to that, or the reservations to that? What would make Harry to not be a British subject?
He wasn't.
Or?
Well, maybe like saying, for instance, if you're in the army, I know if you give birth in a certain area,
Okay.
but you're still like a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Something even more basic than that. What would make the conclusion that Harry is not he may not be a British subject? Do we know who Harry is?
Which Harry?
Harry Potter?
That's the question. Is Harry human?
Well, could be.
Could be, but maybe he's not. Maybe Harry is a dog. Maybe Harry's a parakeet, right? Maybe Harry's a squirrel. We don't know. Okay? So then you have qualifiers. You have reservations. We have reservations to that statement. Okay? So, on page 143, you have your evidence and data that backs up your conclusion. It leads to your conclusion, but you also have some reservations in there.
Professor, I have a question.
Yes?
Warrant, that's major premise, right? MP versus concept minor?
Yes.
And that's the minor one, the evidence?
This is the minor premise here, yes.
Okay.
Because your minor premise is the evidence that's in the world that you can see. The major premise is the concept that's in your mind. Okay, so what you were doing is we're trying to match the what's in the world with what's in our mind to give us the conclusion. You see how that relates to Aristotle's syllogism? So Stephen Toulmin, what he did is he took it a little bit further and tried to explain it in other terms. Okay? Once again, Stephen Toulmin was a logician. He dealt in logic. He dealt in logic. He was a logician, and he was a philosopher. All right? So let me leave that up there for you so you can look at that. Now last week what we did is we went over some examples that are straight out of your book, page 114 and 144, the Toulmin model of argument. So we went over that. So you may want to look back for the final, look back at page 114 and 144 and review those. Okay, I don't have time to go back over those answers today, but somebody who was here last week, they will definitely have those. All right? Okay, next up, we are going to